We've taken the show on the road, Keith.
Nice.
We're in actual Canada.
Well, it's the right week to do it. RBC, Canadian Open.
I'll give you the Canada Challenge, the American Canada Challenge. What's the capital of Canada? You have 5 seconds.
Ottawa. National sport, lacrosse. What else you got?
You must have watched the Monday show.
No, I missed it. It was Memorial Day, different kind of holiday, but I was deep diving on Lancaster Country Club for the Women's Open. So, you know what's really interesting this week that I noticed, and you would find this interesting.
Yeah,
that the RBC Canadian Open at Hamilton Golf and Country Club is in Ancaster, Ontario, and the Women's U.S. Open is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that tweet today from you.
Yeah, it's like I just stumbled across that. I'm like, how could that ever happen? How could that be? But it is. It's 2 moving events on the schedule and around each country. I don't know.
There was some threat of rain up here for a little while, and I will tell you this. Look at this. This is a flex right there.
Woo,
beautiful,
baby.
Right?
I love the water.
Love it. There hasn't been a drop of rain. Whoa, baby. Come back. There we go. Yeah, I'm red, you idiots in the Discord, because it's Sun Haven up here. You get so dark quickly. And of course, in honor of your Rangers.
Saul, there you go. Right there.
There you go. Oh my God.
Right.
You cannot claim Gretzky as a Ranger. You can't do it. It's not legal.
I'm just here for the Rangers and Davis Riley, but that's besides the point.
Well, let's start there. So we've had some success. I look at these notes on a paper plate because there's no paper up here. Canada has banned bags from stores, so you're basically like carrying all your groceries out like this, and they banned paper. Yep. So I've got to write on a paper plate that I brought from America. Thank you.
Nice.
I've been Canadian since birth, Antonio. And
that's Canadian beer, Coors Light.
All right. So a lot of success. We had JBC from our Discord, from our team, from Team RPS, sweat and win 3 sports last night. Thanks to SaberSim, thanks to their genius, and SaberSim's in killing. And SaberSim is going to offer a single sport golf package for our members, meaning that you can get SaberSim if you just want golf. We're going to be able to do it this week, hopefully. It's a little bit of dev work to do, but that's what's going to happen. Secondly, our Discord had a winner. I think he put $10 live on Sunday. I'm just reading this now, so I could be incorrect, but he did like a Hoagie, Cooch, Maverick, McNeely, our favorites, right? Cooch Maverick, McNeely, and Hoagie. Top 20 on Sunday. He turned $10 into 82,000. It was sickening. And then I closed out the show last week giving some bombs, and you said Davis Riley.
Yeah.
I might have laughed, but then again,
you did.
I love Davis Riley, and what happened? 350 to 1, right? 350
to 1. Yep. Happened here on the 3 p.m. show. Well, like 3:45, but yes, happened here.
It was. What did you take away from last week? Anything?
People were asking me all week, like, why Davis Riley? Why was he my Sammy Valimaki at the bottom of the bin? And like, I'd seen him putting in the work. He went back to his old instructor, Jeff Smith, sorry, full name. It's just like one of those things where like Colin, Morikawa was coming back because he went back to Rick Sessinghouse. Like, he was doing all the right things. And if you go back to that great run that Davis had in 2022, where he was second at Valspar, 5th at Mexico, 9th at 18 or Byronell or CJ, whatever the hell it's called. And then he was like 4th at Colonial. I was like, man, this guy really fits here. He's been playing better. I've seen him put the work in out there on tour. I was like, I think he'd be a good bomb this week. And sure enough, I mean, obviously that's above and beyond expectations, but I mean,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
bring me on here to figure these things out, and we can't do it every week, but on the weeks we do, man, we are going to make the book pay, and they
I
paid
will
last week. I
I
love it.
will say I will say that, and pay attention to your bombs because you've been hot at a lot of them. I mean, we don't talk about them at length sometimes, but like a Sammy Valmaki, blah blah blah. There's some little tidbits that you throw in at the end at deep odds that you probably need to
Yep.
play. But
Andrew
for
Putnam at
me,
Bay Hill was another one. Good
yeah,
one, top 10. Yeah.
well,
Anyway,
you
sorry.
only get. I got a max number of compliments I can give you, so I've maxed that out.
How many check marks are on the plate right now for me?
Yeah, that's like max 2 compliments for Keith. I've got 3. Um, uh, the 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 form issue then is because Davis Riley, from a strictly form issue. No, we know he's a good golfer, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but if you just did strictly on form, if you couldn't play Riley. But this has happened this season, right? People are coming out of nowhere. Also, the whole lead issue, right? Because everyone's like, okay, at some point, Riley has to cave to Scheffler coming up the board. Didn't,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, he had a pretty big lead Sunday, but, he held it.
It's funny. I had Scheffler in a playoff at 2,200 to win, and he had a 4-shot deficit on starting on Sunday, and he was in the same group as Riley. And I was like, man, I'm going to spend that money. That thing's done, right?
Yes.
Scheffler
Yes.
grabs him by the 18th hole, wins it on the first playoff hole, whatever. But I had both guys running, so I was fine.
But now you've got Scheffler dropping these charges, right? I think you're going to free him up a little bit from that stress.
Oh, well, he was so stressed last week, he came in second.
So. Yes. And now he's going to come back even more powerful, so he's going to win everything.
I mean, he lost Memorial last year by 1, and he only gained 19 tee to green, and he lost 9 strokes putting.
Yeah, it's absurd. And so then you come into this week, right? So the other storyline on my paper plate is, the course, right? The course in Hamilton. They used to play Glen Abbey, not our best showing in Canada, and now you've got this rotation of older courses, which I think is fantastic.
Great.
It's great. If you look back to 2019, you had 3 guys that I can't stop chasing. Well, Webb at least. You got Matt Kuchar, who finished well last week, and then you had Snedeker, right? Top 5 in 2019 in the Rory year at Hamilton.
Yeah.
What does that? Speaking of like form, and speaking of going into this week with this course, is that something that you see happening? That some of these old dogs, point A to point B golfers, showing up again this week? Because if that's the case, there's some real value. If so.
Old dogs, not necessarily, but new dogs in the same mold for sure. And one of the guys that I'm featuring this week at Read the Line is Mac Hughes, because he's the number 1 putter and scrambler in the field. So yes, I do believe that that's still a recipe for success there. Everyone that I've talked to about the golf course conditions, it's going to be very similar to 2019. The renovation itself was more for the members than it was for the tour. Let's say they only added like 100 yards. It really hasn't changed much. If anything, they removed trees and they gave the guys better sight lines off the tee so that they could take better advantage. What was the over-under this week? Like 18.5 for total score. So they expect, with the soft conditions up there from the wet weather and everything, that we're going to see some low scores. So for me, I think you have to have a happy balance on your card between bombers and guys that can score. And I mean, that has a lot to do with par 70 scoring. I mean, at the end of the day, like when it's par 72 and you get 4 par 5s, that almost always is a huge advantage in scoring for the bombers. Let's say 7-3 in a group of 10, right? Like those guys, they just hit they get greenside or on the green and 2 on those par 5s, and they just chew them up over the course of 4 days. Well, when you take 2 of those away and you add 2 more par 4s, well, you have to be a much more well-rounded player. And that's what you see from like a Matt Kuchar and a Brandt Snedeker. And they're just great putters, right? I know you mentioned the top 5. The one guy missing was Shane Lowry, but like 8 of the top 10 from 2019 were also on the top 10 for strokes gained putting for the week stats. So, you got to be able to putt here. And everyone looks at Rory bombing it, but that Sunday 61, I mean, he was nuclear with the putter. Scott Piercy, you go back. Yeah, he's a bomber too. But like the average strokes gained between the two of them in those 2 wins was like 6.4, right? So, at the end of the day, like that was like almost a stroke and a half more than the average shared between them on approach. And there's not many courses where putting overtakes approach as your number one, of the top 4 strokes gained categories. I go back to Bob Tway when he won in a playoff over Brad Faxon in 2003. Bob Tway would have been your more power player, and Brad Faxon would have been your Matt Kuchar, right? Like,
Right.
and that's the modern day Mac Hughes in my mind. A guy that comes in 6th. I mean, Mac Hughes was 6th at Wells Fargo, and he was like dead even on approach. I mean, that's how good he is at scoring with his putter and with his wedge. So I'm featuring both types of guys.
Well, I think that I don't want to jump too far down my paper plate list, but I think that if you're building lineups this week, I said it Monday with Andy, I think you could do a min one rule of at least one Canadian finishing in the winning lineup, right? And I think there are 7 to choose from, and you can rank them however you want.
Yeah.
Taylor, Hadwin, Pendrith, Svensson, Hughes, Connors, and I know you like Ben Silverman.
No. How about Pendrith?
Okay, so who's 1 for you? Hughes.
No. Rank them in order?
Yeah.
So there's 6 of them under 80 to 1. I would go Hughes, Pendrith, Taylor, Connors, Hadwin, Svensson. I would go in that order.
Hughes, say it again. Hughes,
Pendrith,
uh-huh,
Nick Taylor,
yep,
Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, Adam Svensson.
And not Silverman.
Taylors, a lot of Adams. Weird.
You don't want Ben Silverman?
Hadn't thought about him. I was just looking at the guys that I thought would have a chance to win. So I'm not biased against them in any way. I'm ignorant to him.
So that's the thing with, it's listen, Canadians love Canadian golfers, fans of because there's not that many, right? So it's not like, as I said Monday, it's not like you get excited about seeing an American golfer and root for him. Canadians will root for all Canadian golfers generally, but maybe even more of a push for the local guys, Connor and Hughes, okay? Because they're more local to Hamilton versus the Western Canada guys in Hadwin and Taylor, in Svensson and Pendrith, right?
Yeah.
Does it put more pressure on Hughes being local? He seems pretty gritty.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with doing a min one rule of a Canadian showing up in a lineup. And then the second part is the President's Cup, right? That's huge for Canadians being in Montreal. It's huge for them. Now, Taylor's probably in. Hadwin, top 12.
Wait. When you say Taylor, you mean Nick Taylor?
Yeah. Nick Taylor, yeah. Not Pendrith. Right.
Okay.
Nick Taylor's 5th in President's Cup standings or 6th.
Okay.
5th. He's probably in. But the rest of these guys probably need to, boost the resume a little bit to get to Montreal. Do you factor that at all?
Absolutely. And I think that, you mentioned the local pressure for somebody like Mac Hughes. I think that doesn't even come close to the pressure he's putting on himself to perform in Canada. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be not only can the Canadians play under pressure, but can they play under the pressure of playing at home for Mike Weir? So if it's a captain's choice, this is the one event they have to prove to him that, man, I can contend and I can be a factor at home when the crowd's going insane for me, right? Fair. So, and I feel like with Pendrith and Taylor having a win already, that they have an advantage over Hughes. I mean, Connors is 25th in the world, so he's probably in a good position to make.
You got to play. You got to take Connors to the President's Cup. You have to.
I mean, you would think so. So if that's the case, you already got basically 3 guys. I think they're going to take that team of 12 that are from Canada just because it's in Canada. That's insane, right? They're just not that good. So, I mean, I think even though like Nick Taylor, the way he won, or Pendrith, it was the CJ Cup, no big deal. But like, if you win the Canadian Open as a Canadian, now, because of what Nick Taylor did last year, I think these guys have a huge advantage to repeat as a Canadian winner because like that monkey's off the back. right? Like they're not worried about being 70 years since a Canadian won. Like that's been done. That storyline's away.
Right.
And now it's more about the President's
Taylor
Cup,
did
Royal
it.
Montreal, So I'm factoring it. But I think it's a positive motivation. I don't think that these guys shun from that. I think they realize that this is the 1 week that they got to show up because they're on home turf and it's going to be what it's going to be like in September. And Mike Weir's going to judge them for that. So
right.
I think there's a very good chance a Canadian wins this week.
And and these crowds, I mean, this is becoming like mini waste management with the penalty box hole. These crowds they're seeing, I mean, RBC loves it. I mean, team RBC, right? I mean, that's a factor too.
I mean, I would say the guy who has the most distractions this week is Nick Taylor because he was the guy that broke the streak. So he's going to be all over the joint. And then the RBC guys have a lot of distractions.
And not playing as well as you did earlier in the season. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. But form is fickle. The rink. Exactly. I called it the penalty box. You're right, Kyle. It's the rink. The weather's going to be amazing. The crowd's going to be insane. So yeah, you're right. I think that's important. These guys want to show Weir that they can play under pressure in the moment. Especially if they win. If they win, they're in. They're automatically in. Right?
I would say even more so than Corey Connors. Whichever Canadian wins this week in Canada is that team.
Right. Correct. Okay.
Like Zach, it's like Zach Johnson having lunch or breakfast with JT. You're on the team, right? Doesn't matter how bad you play. You're on the Ryder Cup team.
Correct.
Sorry.
Okay. Zach Johnson didn't do too badly early last week.
I think Zach Johnson is probably the only old guy this week that's a factor. When you mention old guys, that would be I do. I think he's been,
like late 40s.
Yeah, like the 40 guys, like the Kuchers of the world and the Snedekers, like you were talking about earlier. I don't think Kucher or maybe Kucher is Zach Johnson, but I mean, I'm not hanging my hat on that, but that would be one of the older guys that would fit this type of birdie fest.
All right, then let's go to the big guns. So we got Rory. Talk about other storylines and drama. Scotty seems to be cleared up. I think he'll absolutely ascend from that and probably play better than he ever has to get this monkey off his back. The Rory thing, he was okay at Quail Hollow. He knew the story was coming out, and then he petered out a little bit at the PGA Championship. But he loves this place. He loves Canadians. Canadians love him. Canadians have affinity for players from the UK, from Scotland, from Ireland, from one American has won this tournament since 2014, and I don't think that's a coincidence. And they love Rory, and Rory's price on DraftKings makes it palatable to play him everywhere because there's a lot of viable sub 6K players. In your mind, can Rory smash again this week?
Yes.
Golf.
It's simple.
Can he smash golf?
Yeah. Well, it is a CBS week, so keep that in mind. Yes, he can. There's no doubt. Is he as strong a favorite as Nelly is at the Women's Open? No, but he is close. Right. I mean, he's 4-1. He started the week at 3.5 and went to 4-1, and then the next closest guy is an unproven commodity at Tommy Fleetwood at 16. So he's like 4x better. I mean, yeah, he is in this situation. He definitely is.
I feel like I've been saying this for 7 years that this is Tommy Fleetwood week, but I feel like this is Tommy Fleetwood week, and this would be week 300 of that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But
okay.
Yeah, I had Tommy Fleetwood last year, plus 2,500 to win, and on the fourth playoff hole, all my dreams crashed and burned with the amazing eagle of Nick Taylor. But I don't know. I mean, Colin Montgomery, this is going back a little bit, but Colin Montgomery was far and above a 5 times better player than Tommy Fleetwood ever will be, right? Yeah. And that guy never won in the States because he had something in his head. And he was more than qualified to win in the States, but he had something in his head that he couldn't do it. And it's getting to that point for Fleetwood where we got to pay attention to this, where, I mean, this guy is, he's phenomenal, but like, what are we doing?
When's it going to happen? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then the top of the board, then let's talk about the chalky plays.
Yeah.
Rory, I think that it's like a Scheffler sort of lock. If you want less variables in your lineups, I think it's okay, especially. I think they mispriced Rory. I think he should be 13K. I
Yes.
think that 150 Rory lineups is probably not an insane thing to do. I think it's probably, worthwhile to do it. And then just figure out the rest of the 5.
Yeah, I had a question for you. I just couldn't understand how Scotty comes out usually around this number 3-1, and he's 13-3, and then Rory's 3.5-1 or 4-1 at the time they're doing the pricing for DraftKings, and he's 12 and change. How's
They
that?
got it wrong. They got it
Like,
wrong,
right?
especially with what's below him. I mean, if Fleetwood is the next best player, Rory should have been 13, especially with 5K pricing, in my opinion. So
right.
it benefits all of us in the scenario that if you really like Rory, and he's going to be very highly owned, 40%. I'm guessing that, but I would say that it's probably okay to play him there. But then you've got other high priced players who likely, outside of Fleetwood, who likely could see as a winner. A lot of people saying they're going to win. Tagala, I don't love, but there's a lot of love for him.
Yep.
Norin, Connors, even high priced Canadian. Where are you with those guys? Like
At the
Fleetwood,
top of the
you're
board,
ruling out.
Yeah. At the top of the board, I like Sahith. I think that's kind of the Xander mode at this point. He's got 5 top 10s this year. Good comp courses.
Driver, right? What about his driver, right? That's kind of his weakness in driving accuracy. Where are you with him with that?
No, the driver's been really good. His weakness so far this year, which has been odd for him, has been scrambling and a little bit around the green. But the putter, great. And his ball striking's been great. Up there in the, upper echelon of this field for sure, and ball striking. And certainly scoring ability on these varied par 4s. I mean, you got 3 par 4s under 400, and then you've got 4 of them over 450. So of the 12, so you got to have a pretty good skill set to get, to score at this place. And I think Sahith has that. He's got the 5 top 10s, much like Xander going into the Valhalla had 8. Like he's been around. He definitely is in a situation where he should win. And this place reminds me of like a TPC River Highlands or even last week. And I think, Sahith is good at those types of places. He's proven that. And then the other guy at the top of the board I like is the Irish Bear. I like Shane Lowry. Yeah. And, obviously he has the history in 2019. Shane's ball striking's been great and his putting's been horrible.
His putter came back though at the PGA, right? He contended.
So he gained 9 at the PGA, and when you dig and you look at 2019 here at Hamilton, he gained 7.7. Excuse me. He gained 7.7 that week to come in first in the B flight against Rory, who won by 7. So like he's comfortable with this place. And I think the reason why he's comfortable is that this is a Harry Colt design. And Harry Colt did a lot of work, obviously, overseas. His most famous work are the courses on the Rota. So, he did Royal Liverpool last year, right? So look at the leaderboard there, right? Like Tom Kim was runner-up, like that's a Harry Colt design. The subtleness of the green complexes and everything and the way you played Royal Liverpool or Hoylake is, obviously applicable to this. And then in 2019, they played Royal Portrush, which is another Colt design, which was won by the Irish Bear, Sugar Shane, right? The celebration that's still carrying on in Northern Ireland. So, I think there's something about that golf course that really suits Shane's game. And I think that's something to pay attention to. So when you got to split hairs at the top of the board, I like Sahith and I like Shane.
Hey, Brent Golf. You like all the guys at the top. Cool. Well, I mean, you can like all the guys at the top. You can create a rule, like min one of those guys in your lineup. So if you have Alex Noren, Lowry, Fleetwood, Tagala, and Rory, that one of those guys is going to win, put at least one of them in your lineup. It's okay to like all the guys at the top. I think one of those 5 could win. So, okay. I think clearly one of those 5 probably will win. Well, if you don't include Cameron Young, I'm still jury's out on Cameron Young for me, especially on a course like this week. I don't, I may be a little fatigued from chasing him. And if Corey Connors is not your favorite Canadian, if Mac Hughes is, then you could probably reduce your shares of Corey Connors. But yeah, I mean, I think they got the pricing right in that Rory viable winner, Tagala viable winner, Lowry viable winner, probably the top 3. And then if you want to keep chasing Fleetwood, there's your 4. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Noren's not winning this thing. Neither is Corey Cameron or Matt McNeely, you know.
Okay, so or Sam Burns, right? Don't say it. Don't say it. You've hated Sam Burns. Keep hating Sam Burns.
Fair.
No, say it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, he of all those guys at the top, other than Rory, he has, and maybe Sahith, he has the highest ceiling for sure. And he's proven that. You know, the guy he's an incredible birdie maker. You got to make 20 subpar scores this week. I mean, it's easy to win if we're talking about winning, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about practice. Yeah. So
okay, so if you don't believe Cam Young can win, if you don't believe Corey Connors can win, if you don't believe Matt McNeely can win, those are pretty high prices for players. Fade them outright.
Yeah.
Adam Scott, bad price again, $9K. I don't know why you would chase him, but people love, though, Aaron Rye is getting a lot of steam this week.
He is. It's
a
good thing he uses 2 gloves so he can, with all that steam around, he can hang out at the club.
Do you believe that's valid?
I mean, Aaron Rye has won on the DP World Tour. Then again, so has Tommy Fleetwood. So, I mean, he does have a fair amount of win equity, but like he's been in better spots to win than this place on harder golf courses where he would separate himself more because he's that good of a ball striker and he hasn't contended. So why would that change this week?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, same thing with Keith Mitchell. I mean, it's the same.
That's
two
what I was
guys.
going to say next.
Like,
that's my
the same 2 freaking guys. You know, like we're gonna keep bringing up these names. I mean, like, why do people keep bringing up Keith Mitchell and the guy can't putt? Right? This is an integral part of contending at Hamilton, and the guys that can't putt are like the most popular guys I see on X all week. I don't understand.
Okay, so that brings your Hughes, that brings your Nick Taylor, that brings your Lowrys, that brings your Fleetwood for me. They can putt.
Yeah. Thigala, putts. Oh, you want to go further down? Pendrith, putt. Ben Griffin, putts. I'm looking here. Hubbard, putts. You know, like this is it.
Well, I don't want to go too low yet, but we'll go there. Right. Eric Cole, right?
You lead.
A lot of
You lead. I'm sorry.
Eric Cole, right? He's coming back into popularity this week, heavy. Cole can putt, right? He can make birdies. I know that people want to talk about him because he'll be owned, so that's why I brought him up. I'm not convinced Eric Cole's back, but not a bad price to take away.
Why is he back?
I don't know.
I'm just interested because he came in 6th last year on a different golf course in the Canadian Open.
E. Cole is getting hot. E. coli, baby.
I mean, it's like E. coli, right? You put him in your lineup and you take a shit. I mean, sorry.
All right. So why wouldn't you like a Tom Kim, or do you?
I think Tom Kim is a real play.
Okay.
I do. I mean, just go back to what I said about Cole. You know, the guy was runner-up in the Open Championship last year.
Right.
And I think Tom Kim is a good play for sure. Which is why I paused on Burns, because Burns is a great putter. You know, I think that's a huge advantage here. I mean, look at that top 5 from 2019. You got a guy that's like a generational talent in Rory, and then you got those 3 ATMs, Kuchar, Snedeker, and Webb Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do those guys do? Those guys just kill you on par 4s all day long, right? So you got to like get away from the sexy flash in the pan for your whole lineup, and you got to have some of those meat and potatoes guys in there. They're not very sexy, you know what I mean? But I mean,
explain Mac Meister to me then.
Other than having a great name,
I mean, he's trending. He was in Big T's core last week. He played well. He's top 5, I think, last week.
And
I don't know. I'm feeling Meissner.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
You don't like him.
He's a risk.
Okay.
Who's around him in price?
Meissner?
Yeah.
Michael Kim, putter. Ben Silverman, you don't like. Andrew
I
Novak.
didn't say I didn't like. He didn't catch my attention, Ben Silverman. I didn't say I didn't like him.
Okay.
So
Novak putter, disappointing week last week, flop leg. Bud Cauley, expensive, but good putter.
yeah,
Lauer.
I like Lauer or Novak for sure.
Okay.
Is SH Kim near there?
Yes.
I love him this week. I mean, he's a great putter and a great long iron player. I mean, you got three par threes there. The average par three length there is 212 yards, and 3 of those par threes are in the top 4 toughest holes on the golf course.
Right.
I think that's a huge.
You've been an SH Kim guy since the Honda, or at least since PGA National.
Let's see. RSM 2023. I watched SH Kim as he was coming off of Corn Ferry, right? And I'm like, I'm walking by, and I'm usually very good with all the South Korean guys and knowing who's who and what's going on. And I didn't recognize the guy, and I was like, huh. And I was walking with one of the caddies, and he said, "Oh, that's SH Kim." He's like, "I tried to get that bag," and I was like, "Man, looking at that swing, I could see why. Like, this guy pretty darn solid." I did a little research, and I watched him that week, and he's a great long iron player. He's a very, very accomplished putter. Both of those things would be very good here. So, that's in that range. I like him as a play. So he's right there in the high 6s. He's the same price as Eric Cole.
You don't like Eric Cole. Okay.
No, I don't like him as a person. I just don't understand the fascination this week.
I think you said you don't like him as a person.
That could be true too. I don't know.
With the Euro love that Canadians will give to some of these Brits, Irish, Scots, Bobby McIntyre continues to.
Yeah, he's a talented guy. He's good. Okay. We know how he got on tour, right? He got his card through the DP World deal where, like Nikolai Hogard, where like they were top 5 who didn't already have their PGA Tour card. So like he's a proven commodity on that tour that over the course of an entire season, he's been very good. So.
Bo Hostler disappointing last week. Oh, very disappointing. Yeah. I took a big swing on Bo in Texas. That did not work out for me. Nor did Chesson Hadley.
Oh man. How about 2 words for you? Davis Riley.
Davis Riley. That's the 4th compliment, and you have used 2 for next week. So I've got to subtract 2 from next week.
Oh man.
Right.
I'm going to be out in Columbus. So
if Lowry wins this week, I'm not going to congratulate you.
That's fine.
All right, then let's go to Bomb Land for you.
No, I mean, I'm good in the middle there to talk more.
Berger, I always like. Wallace, I think Wallace has popped up for me.
Wallace is good on making a lot of birdies. He's always proven that. And he's got a decent amount of length to attack this place.
I'm bumping Englishman, yes.
Yeah. Where is Wallace 76? Yeah, I do like around there. A lot of people might float towards Hubbard, but I'm going towards Davis Thompson this week.
Okay. You'll not get any debate from our Discord for sure.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, it is. People argue with me this all the time. They're like, "Oh, what's the difference? It's just a number." But there are certain guys that are better at par 70 scoring, and Davis Thompson is one of them. For whatever reason, he scores very well, and in this field, he's like a top 5 scorer on par 70s.
Right.
At 55-1 to win, I think he's a legit threat. So he and Pendrith and Griffin in that range, I think, are very, very good. Whereas people say like, "Oh, well, Kevin Yu hits it so good." Yeah, but can he get it in the hole? And I think these guys will get it in the hole.
If you go back to back on Davis's, do you know how much money that would pay you? Like Thompson, Riley.
I'll be able to tell you on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Thompson. I'm saying this right now. Thompson's your Riley this week already.
He there's a good I just wanted to bring him up for the guys that watch.
Well, here's an American that has won this twice, right? Now I guess it was Glenn Abbey. It must have been. But Johnny Vegas loves it here. Right?
But he's not an American.
He's not. That's right. It was a test.
He's Venezuelan.
So even better.
Why is a Venezuelan better in Canada?
Because
they have the same
American has won once since 2014. I'm saying so. Anyone not from the United States, listen. Canada has an axe to grind with Big Brother America. Okay, and Canadian fans are generally harder on Americans because they can't have Americans win stuff all the time. Now Americans are going to start winning in hockey, at the Olympics, and at World Championships, and it's going to bother Canadians. So you got to give Canadians at least a Canadian winner this week, or at least a non-American. I can't. I don't write the rules, but that's why it pisses me off that the Rangers are going to win the cup, possibly, because Canadians want it more. Right? You're taking everything from us.
Wait.
You take musicians. You take Drake. You
can have Drake back.
You take Jim Carrey. You take all of this Canadian talent.
Please.
Canada has way less donkeys. Yeah. I mean, so I'm saying there is a factor for Americans potentially not winning this week in that Canadian fans don't want that to happen. Okay. They'd rather root a Venezuelan, non-American, Johnny Vegas than an American. So
all right.
That's the reason why. If you want a small marginal edge this week, that's it.
All right. Noted.
I'm just speaking for Canadians, and they all agree with me.
Always. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys use the same Canadian flag self-tanner up there? Or what?
It's not a self-tanner, bro.
All right. I mean, you match that pillow behind you like you're in a fucking pottery barn.
There's two things.
Yep.
One, I've got direct light in front of me in sunlight, and it's fucking up lighting. Okay. Secondly, I was outside this morning getting a tan. Thirdly,
nice.
Fuck you.
That's fine.
I love it. No,
I love Wednesdays. It's the best.
Okay.
All right. Where do you want to go next?
I said Vegas. You said no. Okay, so go lower then. Who's like the? We said Meister. People are saying Chandler Phillips. Cooties did okay last week.
Yeah, I mean Kelly Craft makes all the sense in the world again.
No, he doesn't. Really?
Kelly Craft hits the ball really, really good, man. Really good. He makes sense. I don't see a guy down here that I felt like I did last week about our boy, but somebody like Henrik Norlander, who hasn't played a ton, makes a ton of sense here.
He had a great run last year.
He again, long iron play and putters. So when you do your own research, I mean, like that's ball striking and a guy that can get the ball in the hole. So in that 5K land, those are the names: Phillips, certainly Kraft, and I mean, there's some names down here I don't even think are real, honestly.
Etienne?
Yeah, I was just looking at him. Yeah, Kevin Kisner. Is that guy a real guy? I've never heard of him.
Papineau? Etienne Papineau? They got to have some French Canadians in here. Marc-Olivier Platz.
Jared du Toilet. Yeah, that guy.
Jared Dutois. Isn't he American? No, he must be Canadian. Mike Weir's playing. Explain the JJ Spawn decline, because I want to know it too. I mean, he was pretty reliable for a while. Got his win.
He's not a very good putter. I remember seeing him last time I saw him live was at Shriners back in the fall, and he was hitting the ball beautifully. And his stat sheet was just bleeding with the putter. You feel bad for a guy like that.
Sneaky Pat Kazire.
Pat Kazire he came into a lot of my research. The problem is that his record right now is like a little bit like mediocre.
Right.
And this, I mean, Pat Kazire,
he can putt.
He can. Sure. He can. He's right there with our boy, Justin Lauer, Yeah, I mean, you guys are looking for outliers to fill lineups. Pat Kazire was in a lot of my research, a lot more, and I had to look into it, and I was like, okay, well, this guy's really good at this. So, okay, yes, I get it. He hits a ton of greens in regulation. He scores well, and he's a good putter. So I can't argue against that like some of the other people that people bring up. Bryce Garnett came up a ton. Bryce Garnett.
Yeah, someone there you go, Discord guy. He was saying Garnett, Merritt, and I think one more. And I said they all look like look at the third name, but I said they all look like similar golfers to me. So Garnett's your play.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll get the third name.
Ryan Moore's down there.
Yes.
I mean, he could be a Matt
Kuchar. A great putter, but great tee to green.
I mean, he could be a love child of Brent Snedeker and Matt Kuchar, man. Like the way he plays, just kill you over the head with par 4 scoring. Great player.
It was Garnett, Cole, or Merritt.
Garnett of those 3.
There you go, Bridge. That's from our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, RPS, runpuresports.com. RPS 15 for 15% off. All these guys are talking to Discord right now during the show. Keith's in there periodically, but there's your answer for Bridge. I'm stuck choosing between Garnett, Ryder, and Merritt. Excuse me, not Cole. Ryder's been disappointing me.
He had a run in Florida because he likes Florida, but since that time, I mean, miscut. He's missing cuts when he has a partner. It's not good. That's a tough cut to make. I know it's probably a little harsh, but Bryce Garnett and Patton Kizzire in that range showed up a lot in my research. And I even bet Garnett for a top 40 because you could get like 2 to 1, 2 2.25, I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, go your winner then. Is your winner Rory? Hang on 1 second. You talk.
My winner. Jeez, my winner picks have been awful lately. Mac Hughes. I'm gonna go with the Canadian flavor.
Oh, hey, you really?
No. Shane Lowry, Irish Bear.
Okay, so you would then fade Rory then, if you don't believe Rory's going to win. You don't believe Rory's going to win. Davis Thompson.
I mean, like Scotty last year. I mean, Scotty finished second at Colonial 2 years ago, losing 7 strokes putting. He lost by 1.
Yeah.
And then he came in second again this year while he was facing a felony. So, yeah. I mean, Rory could do no wrong in Canada.
Oh, he loves it here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be like just an automatic, like top 5 bet.
Correct. Which is
okay. I'm super live on a parlay with Nelly and Rory to win. Okay. Because you can get them over 20 to 1 if you put them together. So I can't sit here and say Rory's not going to win. I feel like Rory should win.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But that doesn't always happen. And the type of person that's going to beat him is the type of guy that went 9 positive with the putter at the PGA, or a guy that, just lives on the putter like a Mac Hughes or something like that.
I'm saying Fleetwood does it this week. I'm just saying this. This is the last time I'll ever say it, but I felt this in my bones since Monday.
The last time I'll ever
say it. Troy Merritt. Troy Merritt's getting, this is the third or fourth time I've heard the word Troy Merritt. Rory creeping closer to 50% owned. Wow.
A lot of people are using Detroit Golf Club as a comp this week, and Troy Merritt's always been good there, and he's good on golf courses like that. He's been reasonably good lately. Yeah. I'm just not sure that he's the level of, like, when we talk about, like, that.
I like Troy Merritt with par 5s.
Yeah, I mean, more birdie opportunities for sure.
I think Daniel Rincon, and by the way, he also said Venezuela here and politically, Canada and Venezuela have been in good terms for a while now. Take it for what it's worth, but that means play Vegas.
I mean, in the U.S. and Canada have not been since the South Park movie. I get it. So, yes,
I can't describe it. I just, it's just part of our culture. We're tired of America winning everything.
It's like Toronto Maple Leafs fan. You have an inferiority complex. It's fine. The Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you wore the Rangers jersey on in Canada Week and you wore the 99. Like, you can't claim Gretzky. You can't claim him.
I'm not claiming him. This is my Rangers jersey for this week.
Yes.
As long as they're in the playoffs, you're going to get Rangers every week, right? Every week I've worn something Rangers for you.
Yes, But where an Adam Graves? Where
Okay, here. Adam Graves. There you go.
there you go. Number 9. Who's your Velmaki Riley this week? I might say this. I think it's going to be Davis Thompson. I may say that for you.
Okay.
No, but am I wrong?
I mean, the I feel like there's an edge there in par 70 scoring, and I think he's going to do well.
Okay.
That being said, there isn't like people need to understand that with all due respect to the audience, there's not a Davis Riley every single week. There's not a Sammy Valimaki every single week. When you do get them, you smash the hell out of them, and then you make up for the fact that we can't find one every single week. Now, we're always going to find good things because, like, I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks again out on tour, and we're going to see things, and we're going to talk about them at 3:00 on a Wednesday, and it's going to be extremely valuable, like finding Davis Riley was last week. And that's the best I can do. I don't want to force a Davis Riley when it's not there.
You don't need to force Davis Riley. You see, you can do magical top 20 parlays with 3 guys and take $10 to $80,000 on a Sunday. So it's okay if you say Davis Thompson, because I don't know his odds right now, but top 10, top 20 is pretty freaking fabulous. So that's okay. He doesn't need to win.
Yeah. I had a guy read the line, bet 100 on Davis, and he's like, I'm going to buy a car this week. I was like, oh, Jesus.
He won 35 grand.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was like, okay, good for you.
All right. Anything more, Keith?
It's a highlight of my week to be with you. I mean that sincerely. I do.
I love it.
And it's not Memorial Day weekend, so I'll try to dip more in the Discord if I can.
Okay. Fair enough. Love you, brother.
All right.
Read the line. Guys. Keith Stewart, read the line. He comes in our Discord. Join it. Be it. Live it. Love it. Go Panthers.